Okay, so today I'm going to be going over functions, which is what I've been learning this week. A function is a block of code that can be used over and over again, and it performs a certain task. To create a function, you use a keyword func, that's F-U-N-C. So to create a function, you use the keyword func. So in this case, we did func dog, and then you do parentheses after the name of the function, and then whatever the body is, in this case print bark. And then to run the function, you just call the function, you say dog and then parentheses. You can also make functions that return a value, so func age, and then you have to indicate what it's returning. So that arrow int, that's the return value, so return 39, and then you have to say print the function now to actually get it to print. So moving on. So a function can also accept parameters. Parameters are basically going to be used as the variables inside the function. So you have to typically name a parameter. So, we know we have a name to call it inside the function, right? And you have to specify what it is. So int, string, etc., right? So our first function, we have func multiple, and then a number, and we're saying it's an int, and it's returning an int. And then we're doing return of number times number. Then to run the code again, you say print multiple, and then whatever value you want to put in for that parameter. You can also do multiple parameters, and they can be anything you want. They don't all have to be the same thing. In this circumstance, I did all ints, though. So we're doing func times the number 1, which is an int, number 2 int, number 3 int, and then we're multiplying those together to get our return value. You can also return multiple values. To do that, after the arrow in your function, you then just put a set of parentheses and then name each return value and what it's going to be. So here's our example. Function, double, trip, and etc. Then the only parameter we're taking is one number, and that's an int, and then we're returning dub, which is an int, trip, which is an int, and quad, which is an int. And then we're just taking the number and multiplying it multiple times. Then to return each one of those, we just put our return and then another set of parentheses and each one that we're returning. So we're returning a dub, trip, and quad. And then we get all of our values when we print it. You can actually omit parameter labels, but you still have to give it an internal name. So you would put underscore and then the parameter name that you'll use inside. So what you'll actually be doing is you won't have to name the parameter when you call the function. So here we have function hi underscore name, and that's a string, returning a string, return hello name. Then when you print it, you just say hi and then the name. You can also remove the return keyword if basically what you're returning is like very, very obvious and it's the only thing in there. So our example, we have a function step down, number int, and returning int, and then we're doing number -1. So we're just removing the return because what we got is what we got. So another thing that you can do is you can actually create a default for the parameter. So if the person doesn't give information, it'll automatically be something, right? So using an example here, we have number of hours as an int, and then we have words per page, and we're going to say it's an int, but we're going to just say, hey, we're going to assume that a number of words per page is 500 unless the person provides something else. Same with typing speed. It's an int, and we're going to say it's probably 40 unless the person provides something else. So in this case, when you're actually calling the function, the only information the person has to provide is the number of hours. They can provide the other two, but they don't have to. So another thing that functions can actually do is they can accept what's called a Variatic Parameter, which basically means that we're saying accept a parameter, any number of parameters from 0 to as many as possible. And that basically is denoted by a ... saying, expect something here. We don't know how many, though. So in our example, we have function total books read, and then books finished, and we're saying that's a variatic, and we're indicating that by the string followed by that ... So any number of strings can be accepted here from 0 to whatever, infinity. And then it will check the count of that and then return the number of books. So when we're calling it, then we can either put books finished and just leave it empty, or we can put each value that we're saying. So we're saying Jane Eyre, Pride and Prejudice, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, and then print that. So the last thing is that parameters can also be in and out parameters. And basically what that is it allows you to change a variable that's passed into a function. So for example, we have var season 1 is equal to spring, and we're actually going to pass that into the function, and it's going to then change it as a result. So we have our sports function, and then our season is in and out, and then our sport is string. So inside we have our switch statement, and when we call it, we say the sport is soccer. So if in that case, soccer, the season is fall. So our in and out parameter of season is going to be changed from spring, which it was set at originally, to fall, and that's what we get in return. So that is everything that I have been learning about functions. I hope that this video helped, and next up will be some practice problems on functions. Good luck as you're learning Swift.